You thought hip-hop's kings were untouchable? Think again. What happens when loyalty crumbles, power shifts, and the people you trust the most sell you out? Yeah, we're talking about JayZ and Diddy, and let me tell you, this isn't just tea, it's a nuclear meltdown in slow motion. How does the man who built an empire with hits, billions, and influence suddenly become the ultimate betrayer? Who quietly cashes in on secrets while the world watches someone else burn? You guessed it. 50 Cent just dropped receipts that could rewrite the history of hip-hop, and trust me, you're not ready for the chaos. Tapes, leaks, Netflix deals, insider whispers, the kind of stuff that makes you question everything you thought you knew about your favorite moguls. Did JayZ really watch Diddy fall and smile all the way to the bank? Or is this just the tip of a deeper, darker iceberg? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, the walls of loyalty, friendship, and trust in hip-hop will feel like they've exploded in front of your eyes. Let's start at the very beginning, where loyalty meets betrayal and empires shake under the weight of secrets. You see, for years, Diddy and JayZ were untouchable, walking through the halls of hip-hop like kings with crowns that nobody dared question. But what happens when the people closest to you, the ones you've called brothers, start moving in the shadows? That's exactly the question 50 Cent has been hinting at for months, dropping breadcrumbs of chaos while the industry gasped for answers. It wasn't just a feud, it wasn't just a spat, it was a meticulous game of survival, and apparently, JayZ played it better than anyone. While Diddy's legal troubles piled up, while whispers turned into headlines, and while people feared speaking up, JayZ stayed quiet. Too quiet. And as insiders now claim that quietness wasn't ignorance, it was strategy. Now, let's be very clear. This isn't just about two moguls falling out. This is about power, control, and timing. Diddy, the man who built an empire on talent, connections, and a personality that could command entire rooms, suddenly found himself exposed. Legal papers, FBI whispers, alleged tapes circulating in shadowy corners of the industry, everything pointing to a reality Diddy wasn't ready for. And 50 Cent? He wasn't just watching. He was collecting, connecting, and compiling the evidence that would shock the world. From lavish parties to insider leaks, from former collaborators to whispered threats, every move Diddy made suddenly felt like walking on ice. And not the kind you can skate across, the kind that breaks without warning. The first signs, according to insiders, were subtle. Deals that once moved smoothly began stalling. Calls that were always answered suddenly went to voicemail. Those who were loyal yesterday started murmuring behind closed doors. And at the center of it all, JayZ, calm, composed, untouchable, allegedly had his fingers on every piece of the puzzle. Desiree Perez, his longtime right hand and industry powerhouse, is said to have quietly navigated these stormy waters, making sure the right people knew the right things at exactly the right time. If true, this wasn't just business. This was chess. And Diddy, no matter how powerful, suddenly found himself as a pawn. 50 Cent hasn't been shy about dropping hints. He talks about the tapes, the documents, the whispers that paint a picture nobody dared imagine. According to him, JayZ wasn't just sitting idle. He knew what was coming, who was at risk, and what could surface. And instead of stepping in to protect his former partner, he allegedly let the pieces fall where they may, sometimes quietly handing over information. Other times, simply letting events unfold while ensuring he remained untouchable. Think about that. A man who rose from Marcy projects to global dominance, smiling while the empire next door trembled. That's not friendship. That's calculated survival. The industry, of course, noticed the silence. Everyone expected JayZ to speak, to defend, to at least step in. But nothing. No statement, no press conference, not even a hint of concern. Meanwhile, Diddy faced the storm alone, accusations piling, history scrutinized, and the media circling like vultures. And here's the thing, when stories like this finally start leaking, people often ask, where did the evidence come from? Who's talking? In this case, the answer is messy, dramatic, and exactly the kind of thing that fuels conspiracy theories. Former collaborators, unnamed insiders, and yes, 50 Cent himself, All point to a calculated network of connections, tapes quietly exchanged, and legal documents moved behind closed doors. The kind of stuff that would make you rethink every handshake you've ever trusted. But let's not forget the historical context, because in hip-hop, past patterns often repeat themselves. Remember the East Coast-West Coast tensions? Remember those moments when alliances shifted overnight, and someone you thought was a brother became an enemy in a heartbeat? JayZ allegedly has been observing, adapting, and predicting for decades. Tupac, Biggie, Suge Knight, Death Row, every power move, every quiet negotiation, every whispered threat has been a blueprint for surviving in a world where one misstep can cost everything. And now, according to sources, he allegedly applied that blueprint to the modern era, where Diddy, despite his power, was vulnerable, distracted, and exposed. There's also the human element, the whispered testimonies from those on the inside. Jaguar Wright, among others, claims she has seen patterns emerge, histories repeat, and secrets traded. She says the tapes exist, the paperwork exists, and people with enough fear of exposure have been quietly passing information up the chain. She describes it like a silent epidemic, everyone talking, everyone worried, but very few willing to act, because the consequences could be catastrophic. And isn't that the real fear? Not the law, not the headlines, not even the public opinion, but the people who smile while they watch you fall. That's the kind of betrayal that keeps insiders awake at night. So as the first wave of revelations hit, the public started noticing inconsistencies. Media outlets didn't rush to defend Diddy, big names went quiet. Comments on social media speculated endlessly, connecting dots that only insiders fully understood. And yet, the most damning element of all wasn't what was being said publicly. It was what wasn't being said. The silence from those who had the power to intervene. That silence, according to insiders, was deafening, a signal that the old rules of loyalty were changing. And if JayZ was indeed involved in quietly navigating, controlling, or even selling access to this information, then this wasn't just business as usual, this was a masterclass in survival and strategic betrayal. Now, imagine Diddy at the center of it all, the man who once held the keys to talent, media, and music culture now scrambling to protect himself, unaware that the person he trusted the most may have already decided the outcome. That's the level of suspense, tension, and drama that 50 Cent has been building toward, teasing the public with hints, leaked comments, and the kind of insider knowledge that makes you question every narrative you've ever been told. Who benefits? Who profits? And who is simply playing a long game while everyone else fights in the open? That's the kind of story that can shatter careers, reputations, and alliances overnight. So now that the stage is set, let's talk about what really went down behind the scenes, the stuff that nobody in the media dared to air, the kind of information that makes you squint at headlines and think, wait, what aren't they telling us? According to insiders, this scandal isn't just about missed calls or awkward silences. No, this is about leaked tapes, legal documents, and information that could ruin careers, all allegedly funneled in ways that benefited one man while another burned. That's right, minus 50 Cent claims he has seen the receipts. And if they're real, the story goes deeper than anyone imagined. From lavish parties with hidden agendas to friendly business meetings that were anything but friendly, the evidence allegedly paints a picture of calculated betrayal at the highest level. Sources say JayZ wasn't just sitting back, watching the storm. No, he allegedly had his team quietly organize, track, and even protect his own interests while letting Diddy take the brunt of the fallout. You know, the kind of move where on the surface nothing seems unusual, but beneath it, power is shifting silently. Imagine contracts signed under one pretense, phone calls carefully recorded, and information selectively leaked, not to damage you, but to ensure someone else does the dirty work for you. That's the level of manipulation insiders are claiming. And for Diddy, the man who once towered over the industry with influence, it must have felt like standing in a hurricane with no umbrella. As allies suddenly turned into spectators and silence became a weapon, and then there's the public reaction, the chaos on social media, and the whispers in the industry. 50 Cent didn't just hint at betrayal. He allegedly exposed examples of lavish spending, questionable deals, and power plays that went unchallenged for years. Imagine documents showing multi-million-dollar transactions, untraceable payments, and the kind of money moves that make the IRS sweat. Now imagine all of that allegedly tied to someone who stayed quiet while the people around him got burned. Fans, critics, and industry insiders were shocked. Tweets exploded, forums filled with speculation, and everyone began connecting dots that had been buried for years. People started asking questions nobody thought to ask. How could loyalty crumble this fast? Who else was watching? Who else might be complicit? Anonymous sources. Complicit. Anonymous sources spoke about secret meetings where decisions were allegedly made about who would rise and who would fall. One source claimed that a network of insiders had been quietly passing tapes, legal notes, and insider information for months. And here's the kicker. It wasn't about loyalty to Diddy. Allegedly, it was about self-preservation, ensuring that while the fallout destroyed someone else, they stayed untouchable. The kind of network insiders describe would make even the savviest strategist pause. Names that once seemed untouchable were suddenly appearing in strange contexts. And the tapes that 50 Cent referenced allegedly showed conversations, deals, and threats that could rewrite hip-hop history, and of course, the lavish lifestyles and excesses of these moguls didn't help. Sources allege that parties, vacations, and high-profile events weren't just celebrations. They were carefully curated displays of power, a smokescreen hiding deals made behind closed doors. Legal documents quietly exchanged, whispers passed from one insider to another, and yet the public only saw champagne and luxury cars. Meanwhile, those untouchable moments allegedly masked the real strategy: information control. Who knows what's being recorded at any given moment? Who's watching the cameras you don't see? According to 50 Cent, this was the exact kind of environment where someone could collect leverage, wait for the right moment, and then drop it in a way that nobody saw coming. Then there are the unconfirmed leaks, the kind of stuff that makes people lean forward in disbelief. Allegedly, there were recordings of conversations that implicated high-profile collaborators, showing conspiracies, threats, and backdoor dealings. One unnamed source claimed that the tapes are so precise. It's like a blueprint of betrayal. Imagine knowing everything someone said and did, having it recorded, and then choosing the exact moment to let it surface. That's what insiders allege JayZ did, watching as Diddy faced mounting legal pressure, scandals, and public scrutiny while quietly ensuring that his own name remained untouchable. And let's not forget 50 Cent himself, presenting pieces of this puzzle in a way that shocks the public but keeps them guessing about the full picture. The reactions were immediate and intense. Fans started noticing patterns: social media silences, withdrawn statements, sudden absences from public events. Critics began dissecting collaborations, payouts, and appearances, asking questions that insiders had been whispering for months. Why didn't JayZ step in? Became the trending question. Who else knew? Why now? 50 Cent's documentary allegedly didn't just expose betrayal, it reframed the narrative of loyalty and power in hip-hop. Every comment, every hint, every leak seemed meticulously timed, and as public attention swelled, insiders claimed that even more explosive material was quietly circulating, enough to make executives sweat, moguls nervous, and fans question everything they thought they knew. And just when you think it can't get more intense, consider the alleged role of media intermediaries. The people who supposedly passed information, controlled narratives, and shaped public perception. DJ Vlad, Piers Morgan, and others are said to have been strategically fed information, with 50 Cent dropping hints just enough to ignite curiosity without giving away everything. The kind of strategy that keeps viewers glued, people talking, and the story alive in public discourse for months. Allegedly, these media channels were used not to destroy but to manipulate perception, ensuring that while Diddy's troubles were public, JayZ's maneuvers remained invisible. And now we arrive at the part everyone's been waiting for: the fallout. Because when secrets this explosive start surfacing, when tapes allegedly showing betrayal, manipulation, and calculated survival hit the right hands, the world doesn't just sit back, it reacts. Insiders say the tremors have already begun. Hollywood execs are allegedly reviewing contracts. Labels are quietly auditing deals, and fans are connecting dots that industry veterans swore would never go public. And at the eye of this storm, Diddy, once untouchable, now scrambling to protect his empire, his reputation, and his legacy. Meanwhile, JayZ allegedly remains eerily composed, untouchable, watching the chaos unfold while keeping his own hands clean. Or so it seems, according to sources, the legal ramifications could be massive. Leaked documents, tapes, and insider testimony could trigger investigations, subpoenas, and possibly even government probes. We're talking about scenarios where attorneys are allegedly preparing for lawsuits, agencies quietly reviewing evidence, and moguls who once thought themselves untouchable suddenly realizing that power has a price. And if JayZ did in fact play the silent strategist, carefully navigating the storm while Diddy faced the brunt of exposure, then these aren't just whispers of betrayal, they are blueprints of survival in an industry that rarely forgives mistakes or miscalculations. Public reaction has been explosive. Social media has become a battleground. Fans are dissecting timelines, analyzing posts, and debating loyalties. Critics are running commentary after commentary, while insiders feed just enough hints to keep speculation alive. Some are defending JayZ, claiming that survival is smart business, while others are accusing him of cold-blooded betrayal. The comments section is ablaze with theories, accusations, and shocked disbelief. And 50 Cent? He's sitting back, watching the dominoes fall, dropping hints, teasing the public, and turning what could have been a private dispute into a spectacle the world can't look away from. But it's not just about the court of public opinion. According to insider claims, there could be a ripple effect on the business side. Collaborations may dissolve, partnerships could be questioned, and investments scrutinized. Sources allege that some executives are already reviewing who they do business with, double-checking connections, and quietly distancing themselves from any potential fallout. That's the thing about power in this industry. One scandal doesn't just affect the accused. It reverberates through every deal, every contract, every handshake. And if tapes, documents, or testimony are verified, we could be looking at a cascade of consequences that nobody saw coming. Fans and insiders alike are also talking about the personal dimension. Diddy's legacy as a mogul, JayZ's image as the ultimate strategist, and the relationships that bind them all together are now under a microscope. Allegedly, private conversations, past alliances, and long-standing collaborations are being reevaluated in a harsh new light. Every handshake, every meeting, every friendly smile could now be reinterpreted as a calculated move, part of a strategy to ensure survival while others fell. The emotional fallout, insiders suggest, is almost as explosive as the legal and financial consequences. Betrayal on this level doesn't just ripple through contracts, it ripples through trust, friendship, and the mythology of hip-hop itself. And then there's the timing, always the timing. 50 Cent's leaks and teases were reportedly dropped strategically, amplifying the drama just as public interest hit peak levels. According to insiders, every comment, every hint, every cryptic social media post was designed to keep the story alive, creating suspense, outrage, and speculation. And if JayZ did, as alleged, quietly manage the exposure while Diddy faced public scrutiny, then this wasn't just a scandal, it was a carefully orchestrated masterclass in perception. Power and survival. Industry veterans are allegedly bracing for what comes next. Some speculate that resignations, reorganizations, and financial audits are imminent. Others suggest that government investigations could finally catch up with what insiders have been hinting at for years. And for the public, the suspense is intoxicating. Every new clip, every leaked document, every insider quote keeps the world on edge. And as this video of this saga concludes, one thing becomes clear. Nothing in hip-hop, in business, or in celebrity loyalty is guaranteed. Today's allies can be tomorrow's betrayers. And the people you trust the most may be the ones quietly plotting the biggest moves. So, as the storm continues to rage, as the tapes allegedly circulate, and as the public digests a narrative that blends betrayal, power, and high-stakes strategy, one question remains: how far does this go? How many insiders knew? How many people were quietly benefiting while someone else fell? And most importantly, when the dust settles, what will remain of reputations, alliances, and empires built over decades? Because if these leaks are real, the fallout isn't just personal, it's systemic. And the world is watching with bated breath as history, drama, and power collide in ways no one thought possible. So, what do you think? Was JayZ really playing chess while Diddy took all the hits? Was this calculated betrayal, or just survival in an industry where power rules above loyalty? The questions don't stop there. Who else was in on it? How many people smiled for cameras while quietly plotting moves that could ruin careers? And the tapes, are they really the smoking gun 50 Cent claims, or just the tip of an iceberg the world isn't ready to see? One thing's for sure, the silence we've seen. The carefully crafted public personas, the sudden absences. It all starts to make sense when you connect the dots. And now the public is awake, the fans are watching, and the industry is on notice. History is being rewritten right before our eyes, and if the leaks are real, nothing in hip-hop, business, or celebrity loyalty will ever be the same. So tell me, are you ready to watch the empire crumble? Are you ready to question everything you thought you knew about loyalty, power, and betrayal? Comment below with your thoughts, smash that like button if this blew your mind, and subscribe to stay on top of every explosive detail as this story unfolds. The truth is coming, and you won't want to miss a single second.